All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Basque Week here on Adventures with Sarah. So we have a full week full of incredibly fun things to learn about a new region of Spain. And our guest this week, all week, is my friend Fran Glaria, coming to us live from Pamplona. Let's see, buenas tardes, is that correct?
Okay, that's good enough for me. That sounds
okay,
perfect.
that's good afternoon, I know, but so is there a way in dialect to say good evening to you?
Yes, what we would say it's on again, or which means welcome. So ongi etorri, welcome everybody.
Totally didn't understand that. It reminds me of Portuguese. When people speak Portuguese to me, it's like language soup in my head. I just am like, okay.
You speak Italian. I mean, Italian and Portuguese are pretty much similar.
I think that's why it's so disruptive in my brain, because I feel like I should understand it, you know?
It's like, how come?
Yeah, it's just frustrating because I always think that like Portuguese sounds like a drunk Russian speaking Spanish. That's what it sounds like to me. No offense to my Portuguese colleagues, who you guys are wonderful, but still.
We love Portugal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is that for us here in Spain, if Portuguese people, they talk on the slowest mode, we understand them perfectly. But the thing is that they talk way too fast. So it's like, hey, take it easy. It's like Italians when they get all, whoa, it's like, okay, calm down so I can understand you.
Yeah.
So for us, it's very, very simple.
Yeah, I was in Brazil once and I was walking around listening, and I swear I could understand people. Like, I didn't expect that just because it sounds so much like Italian, but it just is like it's like my brain becomes scrambled eggs somehow. So I need to go back and study Spanish again, because that's the language I started with, so I can come and visit you and actually talk to you in Spanish. Although that was kind of my question. Okay, so let's just back up. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So you are Spanish, but before Spanish, I would say probably you are Basque, correct?
Okay, so you are right. What is the Basque country? That's one
what
of
I was going to say, but let's go there.
That's one of the big issues around the world. Am I Basque? Am I not? It's very complex, and it's not a yes or no type of answer, especially coming from where I come from. Okay, so the Basque region, it is located in the north of Spain by the Pyrenees, and we share land between Spain and France. Okay, so it's on the western part of the Pyrenees. That little corner is the Gulf of Biscay, okay? And it goes all the way into the Pyrenees. So the Basque country, or where we find Basque culture, are 7 different provinces. 3 of them only are called Basque country. Where I am right now, this is Navarre.
Okay.
That we are not called the Basque country, but we do have Basque culture.
Okay.
And if that was not difficult enough, then we go to the French side, on the other side of the Pyrenees, where you find 3 regions that are Basque culture. So one thing is the Basque culture that you find in these 7 provinces, and then you have the Basque country. And people mixes these 2 things.
Okay, I'm confused already. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up a map so we can have like a look at this, because I just think that we need to be clear, because we're going to be talking about this all week. And I think it's important that we might as well start as we mean to continue. So let me see if I can pull up a map here. Let's see. So what we're talking about, I'm going to share my screen here for a sec. This isn't a very, I should have thought about this ahead of time and actually chose a really nice map, but this is just the first thing Google pulled up for me. So here we go. Okay, so that's the Basque country according to somebody on the internet. All right, so this big blank spot would be Portugal, right?
Portugal.
And then
yes. All the way up there is France.
Yeah, so what we're missing here is that this is where Spain goes into France, right here, right?
Okay. Right, yeah, right there. So the red part, what you pointed there in the red part, that is the Basque country. Okay. On the right, that boot looking, that is Navarre, where I am. Okay. That boot-like. And then we're missing the 3 little regions on the French side, which is where you have the marker right now.
Okay. All right. So I hope that seems clear to everybody. I'm just gonna there was another map here. Yeah, here's another one that I was trying to bring up that's a little bit clearer perhaps. So yeah, so it's just basically right at the where Spain and France adjoin, but on the coastal side of it. So
there we go.
I hope that
Now we know where we are.
Now we know where we are. Yeah, because I think that it's confusing, because I know a lot of people, like if you have heard about the Basque region, you've heard about it in terms of it being like a separatist part of Spain, but it's unclear, is it close to Catalonia? Because that's also a separatist part of Spain. Like, what does that even mean? So you're in Navarre, which is part of the Basque region, but it's not exclusively Basque country. Yes?
There we go.
There we go.
So now that we know where geographically speaking we are, now let's make it even more complicated. Okay. Because now we put politics in all of this. Okay. So the thing is that if we go back in history, where I am right now, Navarre, it is considered to be the origin of the Basques. We leave that there. By the 8th century, Navarre becomes the Kingdom of Navarre, an independent kingdom from Castile, from Aragon. We're talking many centuries before Spain is Spain, okay? But on the 8th century, something happens in Europe. The Muslim Empire invades all what today is Spain.
Yeah.
By the 9th century, the beginning of the Reconquest starts from the north of Spain going down, and that is called El Camino de Santiago, the Christian pilgrimage. And this is when all of this goes crazy, because the Kingdom of Navarre is divided by the Camino de Santiago by half. So from the Camino de Santiago to the south, we have 700 years of Muslim heritage. From the Camino de Santiago to the north, we do not. So the Kingdom of Navarre has two cultures. From the Camino de Santiago to the south, Muslim heritage. From the Camino to the north, Basque, which is ancestral. So imagine how difficult that is to understand. But if we come to modern history, we come to Franco, to Spanish Civil War, the Spanish dictator, this gentleman, to say something. He abolished anything that was not Spanish. He abolished being Galician or Catalonian or Basque. And that is when the Basque terrorist band started, ETA, which is similar to IRA in Ireland. Okay, so it is a very complicated place. What happens today is that we're free. We do not have to hide being Basque. We are what we are and who we are. So it's a beautiful, great culture with many different assets and many different things that we don't have to fight to be who we are anymore, which is where we are right now. And it's, what can I say? It's my home. So I love it.
So then I would assume then that you still have a very strong cultural identity in that way. So I guess I'm wondering, like I'm just going to give you my reference point, of course, is going to be Italy. So in Italy, for example, my friends that are from Florence are Florentine #1, Tuscan #2, maybe Italian #3, but that's questionable. And European, like European and Italian, I would say those are interchangeable for a lot of people. Is there a hierarchy kind of like that, a feeling where you are? And what would that be?
But the thing is that in the younger generation, yes, there's this hierarchy and there's nothing. In my generation, that we suffer Franco and the Spanish transition, positioning yourself, if you're first Spanish or Basque, has political connotation.
Ah, okay.
So in my case, I would say that I'm first Spanish with Basque culture, while the younger generation, they would say we're Basque and Spanish.
Ah, okay. But even within Basque, is there a cultural identity depending on what part of the regions you come from? Because you're obviously from Navarre, so is there an identity based on that?
Yes, there's a big identity because Navarre does not have ocean. So the Basque country looks to the ocean. So it's the same culture, but oriented to the ocean. We are here on the Pyrenees. We are more mountain people. And if we go to the other side, to the French side, they are influenced by the French history. Because on the French side, for example, they did not have Franco. They had World War II, but they did not have Franco. So
You know, Franco's such an interesting character because I don't feel like I know enough about him, or maybe it's not a person that they talk about in history as much. I know that, you know, again, my reference point, Mussolini, everybody knows who Mussolini is. You don't even have to have studied history to understand the connotations of when I say that. Franco feels a little bit more mysterious. And I think part of that is that they weren't really involved in World War II as the enemy, you know, according to the United States sort of characterization of it. And also Franco takes place a lot later, a lot more recently. I mean, you lived during the time of Franco, right?
yeah. I mean, that's the issue. The thing is that the Spanish Civil War starts from 1936 until 1939. Franco takes power and he goes all the way until 1975. So it's 40 years, it's yesterday in history.
Yeah.
So it's very, for now with my kids, they're studying Spanish history and they go all the way to Franco. And I think it's a very good thing not to be taught everything at this point in Spain, because what happens is that whoever is going to be your teacher has a point of view, because your teacher has lived Franco and is not going to be talking about Napoleon or King Philip II. No, no. My personal beliefs are going to be there. So I'm not going to be fair to history, either on one side or the other side. So for us, Franco really has done so much. I mean, not good, bad, but we still live a heritage of Franco. I mean, I was born in 71 and Franco died in 75. So the thing is that my education was in the transition years. So although I had quite a liberal education, it was an education made by a dictator. So I always say that there's the stupid little things that I cannot control that I still do on a Franco mind.
Like what?
So for the most stupid thing that I cannot help it, I cannot wear shorts on the streets.
Well,
which is
I feel that
ridiculous.
But that's not a Franco thing, though.
It is.
That's old school European culture, though, because I feel that. I mean, I was kind of raised in Italy in the 90s, and I feel the same. I can't wear shorts on the street in Italy.
For example, here, I mean, men a certain age, according to Franco, men do not wear shorts.
Oh, so he specifically said that.
Yeah, I mean, a man wears shorts all the way until his first communion. Once you get the first communion, you're not allowed to wear shorts anymore.
Wow. Huh.
So it was that clear.
Yeah.
So in my little brain, it's still there. And when I see people my age wearing shorts, I do not feel offended. I don't look at them funny. It's just when I have them, I put them on, and this is not for me. I cannot fight myself wearing shorts. And I go to the beach wearing my swimming trunk or whatever, but walking on the streets with shorts, I feel very uncomfortable. So things like that are like very Franco, very old-fashioned manner type of things that we still breathe, we still have.
Sure. Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. You know, I love these. I love what am I trying to say? I've been thinking about what you're saying a lot lately with respect to friendships, relationships in general of the people that I know, because we're all from different countries and we've all had different experiences growing up. And even if you and I are roughly the same age, you had a very different childhood than I did. And you almost come from a different time. It's like, you know, but it's fascinating because we're the same age and our children are the same. Like I would bet you that my son, Luca, and your daughter, Fiji, are basically the same. Like they probably watch the same YouTube videos, right? They do the same stuff. But you and I, even if we are the same age, had extraordinarily different experiences in our childhoods. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I think this globalization issue, it's incredible. I mean, all the kids are watching the same YouTube and the same influencers and the same Netflix all around the world. So are we losing the essence of ourselves? Are we losing the essence of what an American person is, what a Spanish person is, what a French person is? But then when you travel and you go to Italy, in the moment you put one foot in Italy, you are in Italy.
Yeah.
You know, the essence, the centuries, millennia of years of history that we have, it's in our souls, it's somewhere. And that's what makes traveling so incredibly amazing.
It does. And, you know, from my point of view, I really enjoy that you and I have had very different experiences, because we can always have a really interesting conversation and compare and contrast different experiences we've had. Whereas I can also see the positivity in the way my kids are, because, you know, every time that they go to Europe and they meet kids their own age, they can sit on a park bench and they can have a conversation about their favorite YouTuber or that video game they like. And they have an interest that's common almost immediately, which I guess maybe we had that sort of. I remember back in the 80s when I went to Europe. I mean, we didn't have the internet, but if I wore Levi's, everybody wanted to talk to me because I had jeans on.
Well, you know, that's one of the Levi's issue. It's the issue, because when I go to the United States, I have a list of Levi's that I have to take back home. Still today, it's the thing. It's the Levi's.
Isn't that so funny? I mean, it's almost like that. It feels like a shadow of history that people forgot about. But when I was a kid in the 80s, like, you could bring jeans with you to Europe and sell them for 10 times what you paid for them in the US. That's a crazy thing because nobody had them.
No, well, here today, Levi's, they cost about 100 euros. So it's like, what? Then you go to the United States at 3 pair of Levi's for 40 euros, big discount. It's like, okay, give me 3 and I don't care the size. Somebody will go into them. So perfect.
That's so funny. Yeah, I really remember the whole jeans thing. And especially when you got to the borders of Europe, like in the 90s when I traveled a lot in Eastern Europe. I mean, if you had jeans, you had to watch them in a hostel. Somebody would take them, you know.
Well, they could even take them. I went to the Eastern countries in late 80s. And in the border, they removed them, and obviously they kept them.
Yeah.
So it's like, my jeans. I didn't understand what they said. I just smiled and said, good.
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever you want, it's fine. Yeah.
You want my t-shirt as well? Go ahead. For you. That was crazy.
So then growing up in the Basque country in Spain in the 70s and 80s, then, I mean, did you travel to other countries much, or did you stay mostly in Spain? Because I know the borders weren't open when I was a kid in the 80s. They didn't open until the 90s, but did you get around much to other places?
Here, especially crossing the border to France, has always been very easy, because it's from my house right now, it's 40 minutes crossing into France. So there was the official borders, you could have some trouble, but the unofficial borders, they were easy to sneak through. So we would go through the other part and just go to France with no big deal. And I did not leave Europe until I was 15. I went to the United States. That was the biggest shock of my life. I was like, oh, what is this place? It was like totally crazy country that I could not understand. The cars, the noise, the food, everything was like exceptional, but it was not a normal thing. I mean, not too many kids back then could either afford or have parents whose basic thing was, okay, you need to travel the world and that's it. So I was quite a lucky one.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was normal for my generation either. It's just my dad's from Europe. So that's why we ended up coming to Europe, and other kids maybe didn't. So, but yeah, it's a crazy thing. Okay. So that leads me to a question. I'm curious, the first time you went to the US, what is the thing you remember the most? What is the thing that shocked you the most about the United States?
Well, the other day, in fact, I was checking all the pictures from childhood, and from the first time I went to the United States, I went to Detroit, and I have like 2 albums of pictures. I think one whole album is just of cars, police officers, firefighter trucks, these huge, amazing trucks that you could only see in the movies. It's like, whoa, picture. So I have thousands of pictures of trucks. And then the food. Food was like, I never had a hot dog before. So it was like, what on earth is this? I've never been to Germany, so no Bratwurst or things like that. The size of food, everything was big. I mean, You want a Coke, medium large or extra large? Well, I'm not, you're extra large. And suddenly somebody would bring you a swimming pool of Coke. It's like, but what is it? Like, we went to the movies. I was like, okay, popcorn. It's like, I could not hold. Do you want butter on it? Butter on popcorn? It's like, what is this? This is crazy. I gained like 5 pounds in 1 month.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It was so good. That was kind of a big shock. And then I returned a couple of summers, and then I did my senior year of high school in the United States.
Yeah.
And that was a big shock because I was going from a only boys Catholic school to an American public high school. That was the weirdest thing in the world. I mean, having, the way students would approach teachers, they would talk directly without raising their hands. Like, I mean, they're going to be slapped. Back then, we were smacked in the head if you do something like that. People were drinking water. I mean, they would bring their bottles of water to class. And it's like, no, you don't do. I mean, here in Spain, you still don't do that. It's like,
you can't bring water to class. Jeez.
Oh, you don't. It's like, what? You're taking water to class? So it was like very weird. And then the first, I was 17, having girls cheerleaders. It was like,
and you were in a Bakersfield.
It was like
I
the
think
biggest.
if I remember correctly, was it Bakersfield?
Yes, it was in Bakersfield, California.
I remember. Yeah, you told me
that was a shock too. That was a big shock because when you think about California, I thought it was going to be, California, Hollywood, and Santa Monica, San Diego, and then it was Bakersfield, which is not exactly that. But I had a ball. It was really amazing. And in fact, in Bakersfield, thanks to Mrs. T, my math teacher, I realized I was Basque.
How so?
Which is something that, well, the thing is that here, as I told you, saying that you're Basque, being from Navarre, it was supporting the ETA, it was supporting the Basque terrorist band. So I never said I was Basque. Then my teacher, my math teacher, she said, there's a big Basque community here. I was like, big deal, I'm not Basque. And she was, oh boy, you are so Basque. I'm like, I'm not Basque. You are. I'm like, what do you mean? You're stubborn, hardworking, squarehead. I'm like, you are, but I'm like, I'm not. So she took me to this Basque place in Bakersfield. And in the moment I walked in, I said, I'm Basque. I felt home. It was like, oh my God, this is my home. The way people would talk to each other, the way, the food, even the smell of the place, it was Basque.
Wow. So you didn't really have that cultural identity until you came to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? That's what.
Well, I guess that makes sense from the point of view of how you were saying, like, Franco didn't allow that kind of cultural identity. So this cultural identity that they have now is just more of a recent thing than you're saying.
Well, the thing is that the essence of who I am, the way I've been brought up as a Basque.
Yeah.
Culturally, but without the name, without the tag. So I never made the connection. The way you relate things is like, oh, I'm not Basque, I'm Spanish. And then I'm like, no, I'm Basque. I mean, to me, I love the south of Spain, but to me, they're too folkloric, well, I don't have 700 years of Muslim heritage. That warmth of the south of Spain, that way of welcoming people, we don't have it here. Here we are very direct, for the good, for the bad, like, yes, no. So when people comes to the Basque country, I always like to explain that you have to be prepared, because if you go for a coffee, for example, we do not say, hi, good morning, how can I help you? No, what do you want? Could I please have a coffee? Do you want it with milk or solo? With milk, large or small? Small. That's our polite way of talking. So we are very, very, very direct. And people are like, you guys are so rude. I was like, no, it's just the way we are. So don't be offended. Don't take it personal. It's just the way we are.
It's A little bit more
For
of a
good
French
people, but
way of being
maybe
in the
too
sense.
straightforward.
Yeah, it's just being direct, but you're right about that. Spain and Mediterranean cultures in general, it's like if you need to ask somebody a question before you get to the question, you ask them, how is your mom? And how is your dad? How have you been lately? Tell me about this. And then eventually you get to the question, you know?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. So there really is a huge difference then between the cultures of the North and the South. And I mean, you also have a very different topography, a different kind of weather, everything is different, right?
Yes. I mean, for example, the weather, when people think Spain, it's way too hot in the summer, it's impossible, it's like 100 degrees. Well, that's if you go to Madrid or the south of Spain.
Yeah.
But here, all the way in the north, from Galicia all the way to here, summer, it's nice, it's warm. We get one day that maybe we might reach 100. Then there's a big storm and temperatures go down to 70s, 80s, beautiful, sunny. So the weather here in the summer, it's beautiful. In the spring, it rains a little bit more. And to me, one of my favorite seasons is the fall. The fall is really, really, really beautiful because it doesn't rain, but nature is breathtaking. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Fall is always, I think, a beautiful time to travel, which just as a quick aside, I wanted to just take a quick little, not break, but just a little thing I wanted to point out. Francisco has started running his own tours. So you have 2 different itineraries you're going to be running next year, right?
Yes, on my this year, yeah, you're right. So this year, thanks to COVID, I guess we have to say that thanks to it, I have created my little tour guiding company, and I'm going to be leading tours. One is going to be a Basque staycation, where we're going to stay at the Pyrenees and do day excursions back and forth, and then we're going to be walking the Camino de Santiago. We're not going to walk the whole thing because it's 600 miles. We're going to do it in 1 week. And we're going to be a walking part, but we're going to see we're going to eat our way through the Camino. We're going to drink it. So we're going to experience a lot of fun things. So the Camino and the Basque staycation.
So when are you doing those tours?
So the Camino, I have one in the spring in June, starting June 19th, and one at the end of the summer in August 28th. And then the Basque staycation, I have one for the spring that is sold out, and then for the fall one starting October 8th.
You have a Camino thing on August 28th. That is very interesting, Fran, because I don't have anything to do at the end of August, beginning of September.
Well.
I mean, literally, we did not even talk about that, but that's one of my goals. Is I've never done the Camino, and I've always wanted to. And I thought, well, that might be like my 50th birthday thing that I do, which should be in 2 years to 3 years to do.
About 20 years.
In 20 years, yes. When I turn 50, I would like to walk the entire Camino. But yeah, you and I need to talk. That would be really fun because I don't have anything going on at that point. But yeah, the Camino, I just think. So when we talk about the Camino, for me, I'm Catholic, and that feels like an important thing to kind of do, to kind of relate to the way I was brought up in religion. But you don't need to be religious to do it, right?
No. In fact, more and more people that we see walking the Camino have nothing to do with Catholicism. This is a spiritual thing. It's a way of connecting with yourself and be in direct contact with nature. And to me, one of the things that moves me is that if anybody has any European heritage, some of your family for sure has walked the Camino. I mean, wow. Millions of people have walked the Camino. So the importance of walking where other people has been walked before, and you know that your ancestors have been there. I don't care what religion you are, that special connection, it's overwhelming. Really, it's a spiritual thing. It's I don't know. And in the tour I'm going to be doing, we're going to be walking parts of the Camino, and I want people to walk those parts on their own. Try to reconnect with yourself. Try to make the best out of it. I mean, you don't need to be extra fit to do that. It's going to be an hour, maybe 2 hours walk, and more or less easy path. So it's going to be beautiful.
Wow. You know, it never even occurred to me to want to do the Camino. I know a lot of travel writers do it, and I have a lot of friends and colleagues that have done it just for that purpose. And it never occurred to me to want to do it until when I was in Tuscany a couple of years ago. I was with my friend Roberto Becchi, and we were doing some filming on the Via Francigena, which is like an Italian version of it, but it's something that has been resurrected just within the last maybe 5-10 years. And it had never occurred to me to want to do that until I saw these people. They had the seashell on, you know, on their backpack, and they were out there doing it. And I just thought, gosh, it's not just I mean, there is the spiritual aspect, but I think it really is that time travel aspect that just is so cool when you see these people out there that are walking. I mean, of course, they've got on their Merrell hiking shoes and their technical backpack and all that kind of stuff. I mean, sure, but it is just so neat to see people doing something that humanity's been doing for centuries. You know, it's just sort of, it feels like you connect to people of the past somehow, right?
Well, oh, sorry. I mean, I literally live in the Camino de Santiago. In the moment, every day I go to buy groceries. In the moment I put a step on the street, I am in the Camino. So for us, the people that we have lived all our lives in the Camino, one of the things that you are taught when you were very, very, very small is that you always have to respect the pilgrims. Because when you come to walk the Camino, there is one reason for you to be doing it. The pilgrim might not know it yet, but there is a reason for that. And we have been born here, we've been lucky to be born here, and we have this duty to be the guardians of the pilgrims. We have to be the people who helps the pilgrim. So if you see a pilgrim in need, you're going to help them. I mean, yeah, the Camino, in fact, is one of the places where the camaraderie and people helping each other. There's a lot of single female walking the Camino, and you're going to be many hours on your own. So it's like a lot of times people ask, is it a safe place? It is. It is quite a safe place. I mean, we've a couple of times something bad has been reported, but most of the people, it's nice, it's easy. I mean, not physically easy or emotionally, but danger-wise, it's not a problem. So
have you done the whole thing?
I did it with my school when I was a kid. So I always say that I have walked it. We did it in 2 different summers. Okay, so we did from Pamplona to León and then to Santiago the next year. So I have walked it, but I was 15. I didn't, you know, when you're that young, you don't have things to reflect on, to go through. So I've walked it. I have not done it. I want to do it now. I really want to, 15 years old, what sins or what bad things have you done? Come on, you've touched yourself. Those are horrible. Like, I mean, come on, I come from a Catholic school. It's like, did you touch yourself? I'm like, no, I didn't. It's like,
I remember going to, I think it was my first confession when I was like, whatever, I must have been 9 or something. I went to my first confession and they're like, what sins have you done? And I'm like sitting there going, I hit my sister, which was a lie. Oh, I'm sinning right now because I lied to you about having sinned. Yeah, I think it's true though that you.
Well, to me, as I had no idea what to say the first time I went for confession, I was like, so I have. So sorry, what I was going to say is that I didn't know what to confess. So I was like, well, out of the 10 amendments, I've done the first one, the 7th, and the 8th. So you have killed somebody. You have. Like, no,
you just made it up.
I don't know what I've done. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking about that because I was a really like obedient child. Like I really was. I really didn't do bad things because my sister was good at doing that stuff. So I was sort of like, there was no shock value in me doing stuff. And I remember sitting down with Monsignor Biederman, our pastor of our church, trying to understand, what is it you want me to tell you? I don't understand. Well, did you see somebody wearing a nice pair of jeans that you would like? And I'm like, well, I guess, did you want those jeans? I guess. Oh, well, that's envy or avarice or whatever. Oh, okay, that's bad. All right, okay.
Like, okay, so I have done that. So I don't know.
So I have sinned. I just didn't even realize that those things were sins. Okay, sure. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
now that I'm older, if I walk the Camino, I have plenty of things to reflect on that I could have done better. So that's that would be worthwhile.
I think that's the essence of the Camino. Try to find something that you connect and you go over, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that just being alone with your thoughts is a good thing to do as well. Just and doing something spiritual and alone with your thoughts. I think that would be fun. So have there been people on the Camino during the pandemic at all, or has it been empty the whole time?
Not the whole time. For almost a year, there was barely nobody. Now we're beginning to see. The thing is that here in Europe, the regions, they were closed, so you could not cross from one region to another region. So it was impossible for us to move. Now we're beginning to see pilgrims, and especially now that, well, now is the winter time, which is very low. A lot of people are asking, and hostels are beginning to pre-booked and all those things. So we're expecting a good year of pilgrimage.
So things are looking up in your area.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. So you've got a busy schedule this year, so that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Let's hope it all works.
Hopefully everything will work out.
Yeah.
Hopefully will.
So if people are coming up to the Basque region, how long do you think they should spend? I mean, if somebody's visiting Spain, how many days would you, because I think it's actually quite distant from Madrid and Barcelona and all of that. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get there. How would you dedicate a week? Would you dedicate 10 days?
If you want to get a hold of the Basque country, I think a week is perfect. Now we're about, by the end of the year, we are going to have a high-speed train coming all the way to the Basque country. So it's going to be much, much easier to connect with the Basque country. We do have airports, like Bilbao or San Sebastian, but we're going to have a high-speed train coming from Madrid, which we are very happy.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. So, I mean, trains should really revolutionize your area and probably bring more tourism as well, I would guess.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. So what would you say would be the highlights if you were to put together an itinerary in the Basque region? What are the towns people should visit?
The towns that everybody has to visit. First, the big one, which is Bilbao, and see the Guggenheim Museum, Modern Art. That is the big building that we have here. Then city-wise, we have to come to San Sebastian, the most beautiful town in the Basque country. Also, the food capital of the Basque country. Here, food is a huge thing. San Sebastian is the city where more Michelin stars per capita in the world. And if you cannot spend 300 euros on a meal, what you can do is go for tapas, which is the tapas place in the world. Another city is my hometown here in Pamplona, the city of the riding of the bulls. Yes, the riding of the bulls is big, but it's not everything that is in town. And then go to the French Basque side to see Saint-Jean-de-Luz, for example, that I love. It's where the Sun King from France got married. So there's a lot to see and a lot of history. Biarritz, where Napoleon III had his summer house. So it's, and then one of the things I think, rent a car and get lost in the roads. And that's the best thing anybody can do.
I think that's
try to.
And it's not scary driving around there?
No, I mean, you need to know how to drive, okay? Because first of all, we do not have many automatic rent cars. Most of them are stick shift. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. And then if you go to the mountains, hey, it's the Pyrenees. So, but if you're from Seattle, it's like going, up the mountains. Or, you have to know how to drive a little bit, but it's not difficult. If I can do it, anybody can, trust me.
So tell me a little bit, Fran, about what we're going to do this week. So tomorrow, we're going to be doing cooking. Have you decided what we're cooking tomorrow?
I think we're going to be cooking some tapas.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Right?
All right.
We call them pinchos from here. So I think that's what I'm going to be cooking.
Okay.
Then on Wednesday, I want to talk with you to see if we want to do a city tour, for example, of the city of San Sebastian. I was waiting all the way to see about the rain because there was a big
Yeah.
storm coming in that has disappeared. So
Oh,
we
great.
could do
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday, I don't care, the city of San Sebastian.
Okay.
And then on Thursday, we can walk the Camino. We can work
Very
a little
good.
bit in the Camino and
Oh, I'm
do a
excited
little
about
bit of
that.
it and try to explain a bit.
So I can say I've done
That's
part
something
of
we
the
could do.
Camino, even if it's just virtually.
We, although it's a little bit virtual, we've done it. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Very good. And then
So
Friday, we're
we'll
going to have the
see,
slideshow.
depending on weather and yes. Oh, one thing. For Wednesday and Thursday, we need to do it at 9 o'clock Seattle
Okay.
time because unfortunately by 10, everything is dark.
Yeah,
so we'll
that's
do
fine.
it at 9.
Okay. So
Okay,
just so
perfect.
everybody got the
Friday.
schedule. So the schedule then is that we're going to do Cucina Quarantena tomorrow. We'll let you know the time later. And then the two events, the live virtual tours will be at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, we're going to do the slideshow so you can see the cool itineraries that Francisco has put together. So I think we're going to end it here for a good reason, because as you know, those of you who are watching, I have been experimenting with trying to migrate a bunch of all of this stuff over onto YouTube. So I thought what Fran and I would do is just a really quick 10-minute live stream over on YouTube. And we're going to be talking, I think it might be fun to talk a little bit more in detail about how to visit the Camino. So let's go ahead and move over to YouTube. And if you guys are watching, just go ahead and jump on. You can find me just Adventures with Sarah or Sarah Murdoch on YouTube. And we're going to be live over there in a few minutes. So thank you so much for this wonderful week, Fran. I'm so excited for all the things you have planned.
Thank you for hosting me. It's going to be great. So
Yeah.
let's go to YouTube.
All righty, let's go.